So talking about meta-analysis, I like to think of it in the same way metacognition is thinking about thinking. Well, a meta-analysis is an analysis of analyses. So the purpose here is to combine data from smaller and possibly underpowered studies into one large data set and then reanalyze the data. The rationale here is that you can yield powerful and more impactful results in a meta-analysis than were yielded in smaller individual studies. One of the challenges is ideally we would like to only include studies which have already yielded roughly similar results. As you can imagine, if we are including studies with widely divergent results, so very heterogeneous outcomes, they end up negating each other. For example, +1 combined with -1 just yields 0. So heterogeneity is an important concept in meta-analyses. And there are a number of statistics that can describe heterogeneity. One of the commonly used statistics is the I-squared statistic, which ranges between 0 and 100%, and is usually quoted in a forest plot in the bottom corner. It'll tell you what the I-squared statistic is. Generally speaking, and this is from the Cochrane handbook, under 40% is acceptable. 40 to 80% is moderate heterogeneity, and then over 80% is high, and starting to undermine the results that one can take away or the conclusions that one can take away if there's high levels of heterogeneity of the included studies. I do want to make a point because I often hear students talk about a systematic review and a meta-analysis, and indeed they are often combined. However, the systematic review is not a meta-analysis. The systematic review describes the system whereby they searched the literature and reviewed the data they found and chose to include certain studies and not include others. I also want to point out here a narrative review is essentially where an author reviews a topic, and that from an evidence-based medicine perspective is low level because they've not had any system. So a systematic review, typically there will be a methods section. They'll tell you what databases they searched, from what dates to what dates, and what parameters they were using. Do they include English language or extend beyond that, and so forth. So, but one of the take-homes is a systematic review is not a meta-analysis. A meta-analysis is where the data from individual studies was obtained and reanalyzed. And here we see Ozempic, the semaglutide. Does it work for weight loss in obesity without diabetes? And as you see here, it does. It works. We're looking at a 0 showing no difference, and then a line, to the left of that line favors semaglutide and the other side favors placebo. And here we're getting good heterogeneity. If you look over at the heterogeneity, and we'll see at the end of that line, they have a number of statistics, but at the end of it is the I-squared is 43%, and that's pretty good, as we already said. And we're seeing a highly statistically significant p-value for the overall effect.